Gotta sit and finish them.
Just double fist it. It's a Monday night. Okay.
It's a Monday. Double fisted on Monday.
Fuck it.
It's Sue.
And Megan in the restricted section.
And today we're going to do our CozyAthon wrap up.
Yes, and while we do that, we are going to be drinking this Pennsylvania Tuxedo from Dogfish Head.
And this is a pale ale brewed with Pennsylvania spruce tips. You're primed and ready.
I'm primed and ready. So let's see how it is.
I like
pretty
it. Good. It's very sprucey.
It is, but I actually like it because it kind of tastes like Christmas.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It tastes like evergreens. I was singing MC Chris. So, the CozyAthon was a 2-week readathon that took place from the 1st through the 15th of February, and there was a lot of challenges.
A lot of them were just like having to do with what you did or ate while you read.
Yeah.
And then there were a few that were like specific book challenges.
Yeah. And I completed a lot of them, but not all of them.
I did not complete all of them.
So the first challenge was coffee/tea date, and that was to read in a coffee shop or a tea room.
I did not complete that challenge.
I did not either.
It was really cold, y'all, and
there was an ice. We had freezing rain one weekend, and so we didn't get out much.
We did not. The next challenge is chocolate date. Read while eating or drinking chocolate.
I did do that.
Samesies, yeah.
I ate some Lindor truffles.
Oh.
I was thinking Ferrero
Rocher.
You have them right there, and I was like, something fancy.
Some fancy truffle?
I had some Lindor truffles, the strawberries and cream kind.
Ooh, that sounds good.
They're like limited Valentine's edition. They're really good.
Yeah, you guys.
Technically, they're white chocolate, which isn't real chocolate, but
I don't care for white chocolate.
I feel like it counts.
I ate some dark chocolate Twix, which is delicious.
And next was cake shop date. Read while eating cake or cookies.
I did not complete this challenge.
I did. I bought some cookies specifically so I could finish this challenge. And it was some sort from Walmart that I'd never had before, but they're like espresso. Ooh. And they actually weren't that good. I thought they'd be really good, but they were not great. They were okay.
I don't have much of a sweet tooth most of the time. So
I do.
When I eat like sweet things, it's usually like cinnamon stuff or dark chocolate stuff.
I love sweets. It's like a problem.
I have a salty treat problem. So the next challenge is movie date, which is read while eating popcorn. And you can bet your sweet ass that I did this one.
I did as well, but again, I specifically went to the store and bought popcorn because I did not have any popcorn in my house. So that I could eat it. And I got chocolatey popcorn. It had like chocolate drizzle on it, which I actually didn't like it all that much. Because there was this kind that they used to have that was a different brand that was so fucking good. And it was like popcorn with chocolate drizzled on it. And that was so good, but I don't think they sell it anymore. So I got this other brand. And I think it was kettle corn with chocolate drizzled on it. It was too much. It was too sweet. And so I was like, oh, if this was just regular popcorn, it would have been so much better. But it wasn't bad. It was just too sweet. The next challenge was walk date. Take a walk while listening to an audiobook.
I did not do this.
I did. We had like one nice day, and I took my dog for a walk, and I listened to a little bit of, what's it called? Uncommon Objects, I believe, which is Tom Hanks's collection of short stories. Yes, that Tom Hanks.
That Tom Hanks.
Which wasn't a book on my TBR or anything, but I've just been kind of slowly listening to it over the past couple months. I'm still only about halfway through it.
Romantic date. Visit a romantic place and read there.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Unless you count my bed as a romantic place.
Oh, same, yeah.
Because I do.
I read in my bed. That's where the magic happens. Hey.
Next is stay at home date. Read wrapped in a blanket.
You can bet your ass I did that.
I did too. I pretty much always read wrapped in a blanket.
Same.
That was not a challenge for me at all.
No, I read like in bed with my dogs wrapped up in a blanket. Cinderella date. Read until midnight.
And I did indeed do that as well. Probably a couple times, I don't know. I stay up late.
I did not do that.
Really? You never stayed up past midnight?
I did last night, but I was watching, it was outside of CozyAthon dates, and it was probably the first time in a long time that I'd been up past midnight.
Really?
Yeah, like I can't remember.
We've been up past midnight before.
Oh yeah, I guess we have been. But yeah, I don't usually stay up that late.
Yeah.
Because during the week I get up at 3:30 in the morning, so I go to bed really early, but usually it gets to be about 10 o'clock on the weekends, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed.
It's so late.
I'm so tired.
Okay, so now on to the Bookish challenges. The first one is read a book with red or pink on the cover.
And for this, I read Red Queen by Christina Henry. This is the sequel to Alice by Christina Henry, and it's just a Alice in Wonderland retelling. And this was good. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but it was good. I think I gave it 4 stars.
So I didn't actually finish the book that I had picked out for that challenge, but I have 2 of the other books that I read for other challenges also have red on the cover, and I think you can probably combine challenges. I'm not sure if the creator, we didn't actually mention that. This readathon was created by Silvia Kay, so
yes.
We'll link her CozyAthon stuff below.
Deal.
But so I also have like Water for Chocolate has red on the cover, and Stars Above also has red on the cover. So
I think you're covered.
I think that I'm good.
You're probably solid.
Yeah.
All right, so the next challenge is read a book with a sweet title. And I think that we both read the same book. I don't know if you read this for the same challenge I did.
I could count it for that challenge. It doesn't matter because these 2 could be interchangeable. So I'll count it for that.
Yeah, we both read Chocolat.
Yeah, we read Chocolat by Joanne Harris. And this is about a woman who moves to a very small town in France and kind of shakes everything up. She's a very like Christian
small routine,
yeah,
Christian,
kind of oppressive town, and she comes in and is like,
nope, have some chocolate.
Yep. And I had already seen and loved this movie. Like it's one of my favorite movies I've seen it many times. So I did really enjoy the book. I feel like I kind of liked the movie a little bit better.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie. I really want to watch it now because of what Sue said about it and how it's different from the book. I didn't mind the book. I thought it was well written. I just didn't really care too much about the story. I felt like it was kind of much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I still really liked the book, but I wonder if, because I knew the characters already from the movie, if I, was already kind of
invested.
Yeah. Because there are some differences. Not like super huge differences, I wouldn't say. Like the movie doesn't stray too far from the book, but there are some definite differences. And I'd say the movie is a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, I had a really hard time with the chapters where it was like the priest chapters.
Yeah, I didn't love those chapters either.
Douche, God.
Yeah, I didn't love those either. And if he had turned out to be more like the character he was in the movie,
right,
then I think I would have enjoyed that more, but he wasn't so much in the book. But I think I gave this 3.5 stars.
I think I gave it 3 stars.
The next challenge was to read a book about love or relationships.
And I read This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper, which is a story about a family whose father has passed away, and they sit Shiva for him. And it's also like the main character is a man whose marriage has just ended. His wife cheated on him, and yeah, this book was really funny. I thought like it was really darkly funny, and it was sarcastic, and they just made light of some pretty shitty situations, but
yeah.
I also
love how it starts with him like
I show your cake up the guy's ass. He burned his testicles.
A cake with lit candles on it.
Yep. But yeah, and I kind of loved how it ended because it ended with him like he had, I don't want to ruin it, but like he had some options and he kind of chose to do what was best for himself at the time.
Yeah.
And I really liked that because I think that's important.
I liked it a lot too.
I want to see this movie. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
We should watch it sometime.
We should.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars.
And I read Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. This is set in Mexico, and it's about a young woman who she's in love with this boy and he wants to marry her, but her mother will not allow it because she's the youngest daughter in the family, and so according to her mother, she's supposed to stay and take care of her mother for her whole life and not ever marry.
Ooh.
And so the boy ends up marrying her sister as a way to be close to her.
Oh.
Which is a mistake, obviously.
Yeah.
But the book is kind of about her relationship with her mother and her sisters, and also this sort of passionate love between her and this man. And also the book made it seem, because the synopsis really plays up the whole, because this is heavily about cooking too, like each chapter starts with a recipe and she like cooks for the family and stuff like that. And it really played up the part where she can cook her emotions into food. So there's like magical realism in here. Like for instance, when she's cooking the dinner for the wedding between her sister and this boy she loves, she's of course, you know, heartbroken.
Right.
And like the whole, everyone who eats at the wedding starts to feel that as well and actually starts vomiting, which is weird. But I feel like that was not as big a part of the book as you would think based on the synopsis. And also it says like, it made me think that she knew it was happening, and I don't think she really realized it at all throughout the book that was happening. At least she never really acknowledged it.
Interesting.
But I enjoyed this. I read it in a day, so it was really
nice.
It was really compelling. But I didn't like absolutely love it. I think I also gave this 3.5 stars if I recall. But it was pretty good. And my favorite part is that I got this at a library sale and there's a leaf in it.
A pressed leaf. That's really cool. And also the photo on the back is like the most 90s photo ever.
Or maybe 80s even.
Oh man, it doesn't
published.
I don't know. But
Her
that
hair is huge.
Think about how much Aquanet is
1992.
Woo!
Yeah.
Girl.
Check out her giant collared dress.
That is
big hair.
some early 90s fashion right there.
Yeah, but this book was pretty good. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing this movie either. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either. Watch a Disney adaptation of a fairy tale of your choice and then read a retelling of it.
So, I guess I did this in reverse order because I read the book first. But I read Stars Above by Marissa Meyer, and this is like the supplementary collection of short stories set in the same universe as the Lunar Chronicles, so it follows all those same characters, and with the exception of one. There's one story that's about a different character. That's not, as far as I recall, is not in the Lunar Chronicles at all.
Interesting.
So that was a little odd. But, yeah, this story, all the stories, with the exception of that one, follow those characters, and they're mostly backstories. I think there's just one at the end that's set in the future, like after the series ends. But for the most part, I thought these were pretty mediocre. Like, there was probably 2 stories in the whole thing that I thought were actually worth reading. One of them included the one about that character, that random character.
Random ass.
Because I actually enjoyed that one. And then there was one that was like the backstory of Winter and Jace.
Okay.
Jace. And I really liked that one because, I don't know, I guess maybe I feel like you don't get as much of their backstory in the series, maybe because they're like introduced last. But all the others I felt like were just things you already knew, just in more detail, which was boring.
Do you think, like, serious question, it's gonna sound kind of snotty, but I don't mean it that way. Do you think that Marissa Meyer is like just totally cashing in on this? Like she had one good idea and she's just really milking it? Or do you think that she wants her universe to be like expansive and so she's just trying to write a lot because she wants to make this big universe? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I couldn't really say either way because I don't know, but I would definitely say that most of these stories are not necessary. So
I kind of feel like she's cashing in on one good idea, but I'm trying to give her the benefit
I mean, she
of the
does
doubt.
have that other book, Heartless, but that had pretty mixed reviews. I haven't read it. I'm not really that interested in it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm more interested in the concept of these books than I was in the actual books, although I did enjoy them. They were fun to read.
Yeah, I really liked them. I think I liked them more than you did. I just thought they were fun and cool.
Yeah, they were a really cool concept.
I
And
think
they were
they're
fun
supposed
to
to
read.
be making them into movies, which seems like it could be really awesome.
I'd watch that. Yeah, I would definitely watch that.
But yeah, like I said, I would say like if you're a big fan of the Lunar Chronicles, maybe read this. If you're like a fan but not absolutely in love with them like me, maybe check it out from the library like I did.
Don't buy it.
Just check it out from the library, and like honestly, you only read in my opinion, the only stories worth reading were The Little Android and The Princess and the Guard, because the others were kind of meh, pointless. And also, like, I really didn't like the story about Carswell, the guy, what was he called? They didn't call him Carswell. The one that's like Rapunzel Cress's love interest.
Oh, yeah.
What did they call him?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. His real name's Carswell, but now I can't remember what he like went by.
Different. Yeah.
But his backstory almost made me dislike him.
Really?
So I was kind of like, oh, I wish I hadn't read that.
Because he was supposed to be like the lovable rogue,
right?
Or whatever,
and like his backstory made him seem like an asshole. I mean, not a total asshole, but like. I didn't like it. I was kind of like, I wish I hadn't read that. I wish I hadn't at all. But then I watched, because this included stories involving Cress, who was based on Rapunzel, so I watched Tangled.
I love
Watched the movie Tangled. I love that movie too.
It's so cute. I didn't do this challenge. I was going to, and I had borrowed a book from Sue. It was a Snow White retelling. But I decided that I just didn't feel like it, so I read something else instead.
Next is Buddy Read a Book with Someone.
And I think you started this book, right?
I did start it. I didn't finish it, though.
So I read Kindred, Kindred graphic novel.
Not this,
probably. Oh yeah, we could probably say that we read Chocolat. But Sue started this, and I finished this. Kindred, the graphic novel adaptation by Octavia Butler. And it was adapted by Damian Duffy and John Jennings. This was really cool.
I'm really liking it. I'm over halfway through it, so I should finish it pretty soon.
Yeah, I really loved it, and I was really impressed with how they handled like certain things in it, because there's some really fucked up stuff in the book. Like there were some scenes that I probably wouldn't have wanted to see, you know, like sketched out, and I think they handled things
and I
really
feel like
well.
That's kind of the point of it too, is that I think that the graphic novel makes you much more uncomfortable.
Yeah,
which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, and there's some of it like I think it was just handled really tastefully, and not like, because I don't like it when people do things just for shock value.
Right.
And I think that this was done really, really well. And I love the art style, and of course I love the source material. Right. And I thought it was pretty excellent.
All hail Queen Octavia.
All hail Queen Octavia.
And for this challenge, I buddy read The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien with Jessica and Christina from Game of Tomes. And I really enjoyed this book quite a lot. Like, more than I was expecting to. I think we all were, like, surprised by how much we liked it.
Really?
Because I'd always heard how dry it was, or how dry the first half of it was. And it is. And we read about 20 pages a day, which I think is a good, like, if you're going to read it, I would suggest reading it pretty slowly. Because it's exhausting to read. Yeah. So I think 20 pages a day was a pretty good amount.
Okay.
But this is like the sort of the mythology of Ea, I think they call it, like the Earth on which Middle Earth
Middle Earth is.
Right.
Interesting. Is there a lot about elves in that book?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I had heard about it, but I've never read it.
Yeah, it's mostly about elves and humans. They talk about dwarves, but the dwarves aren't in it much. They are a little. And they actually say, like, the last chapter was so good.
Really?
Because, I mean, it was just so good, or so much fun to read, I think, because it dealt with what happens in The Lord of the Rings. Like, if you have not read The Lord of the Rings by chance and you don't know that story, the last chapter in this book will completely spoil that whole story for you. So, just FYI. Like, it gives you a synopsis of that entire thing. But it tells you like where wizards come from, which I was like, oh, that's so cool, because I had actually wondered that, like, are wizards humans or what's the deal with wizards? No.
Oh.
No. Yeah, and it tells you like how the dwarves came about and how everything. I mean, it doesn't really mention every species, like how they were formed or whatever, because it doesn't mention like hobbits. I mean, they are mentioned in the last chapter, but it doesn't mention like how
they became
their origin story like it does with like elves and humans and dwarves and wizards.
That's awesome.
And it of course talks a lot about the Silmarils, which were these jewels that were created that contained the light from these trees in Valinor, which is like where the Valar
elves go, right?
Well, it's where they call them like the Valar. I might be mispronouncing things. I apologize, but and they're almost kind of like gods.
Interesting.
So they like create things, and elves, like at the end of the Lord. Well, I won't say that because
if you haven't, right?
But yeah, like the elves' afterlife, I think, is in Valinor, I think, or somewhere.
Yeah, because that's where they're going in Lord of the Rings. The elves are leaving Middle Earth to go to Valinor.
Yeah, and I think it was better to read it after reading the Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, anyway, because it's just fun to like pick out these things that you recognize, because there are characters in here that are also in the Lord of the Rings, like Galadriel and Elrond.
Galadriel. I really want to read that now.
But it was really interesting. Like, it was just like, and there are very dry chapters. Like, there's some chapters that are just like lists of like names that seem kind of like that part in the Bible. It's like so and so begot so and so begot so, and you're like, no one fucking care.
I don't know who that is, and I don't care.
Yeah, so there's definitely a couple chapters like that where you're just like, oh god, this is a chore to read. But for the most part, it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I contemplated giving it 5 because it was just like, I think I was on such a high after that last chapter because it was so good.
Ooh.
That I was like, 5 stars!
5 stars everything!
But then I remembered like, there was also those chapters that were like so hard to get through. Which I feel like maybe it was like a necessary evil because it is kind of essential information, but it's also like, how can you actually retain that? Like, I was flipping back to the index all the time. There's like an index of names. I was flipping back to it all the time because there's so many names, so many people in this book that there's no way to keep them completely straight without referencing the back. And also a lot of them go by multiple names.
Multiple names.
Yeah. So you'd be like, who's this again? Look it up. Oh, it's that person who has a different name that we're talking about. So, yeah, it's hard to keep straight sometimes. But if you're a fan of The Lord of the Rings, and have not read this, I would suggest it because it was super good. Anyway, went on and on about Silmarillion. Sorry.
Pull the Tolkien there. Sorry. Last one is second to last one. Have a reading date with a friend or your loved one.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
I did read on the couch while Joey read for a minute. So I guess technically, because he's reading a Star Wars book about Asajj Ventress. And I don't remember what I was reading. But technically, we read on the couch for a minute.
Yeah, I didn't do that at all. We were like going to, but then we had the freezing rain, and our weekend plans were ruined, and it just didn't work out. Okay, so the last challenge was shopping date, which is buy yourself a bookish present.
And for this one, I bought myself the book Fledgling on my Kindle because it was only like $2.99 on the Kindle version on the internets,
on the interwebs.
And so I bought that and I read it.
Right, and I'm wearing mine,
which is really adorable. And
it's technically a Stranger Things shirt, but it has to do with books, and it says, I am on a curiosity voyage and I need my paddles to travel. And there's a little stack of books there.
And it's real cute.
So I got this it's actually from the store Look Human, which I've talked about on the channel before because I like their stuff a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll link it below.
It's really cute.
If it's still available, which it probably is. But I actually got it from Zulily, which is like a discount store. So if it's still on Zulily, I'll link that. But if not,
dangerous.
It is. You can buy a lot of shit on there.
A lot of shit on there.
So if it's still on Zulily, I'll link that. But yeah, I thought it was
It's
really
very,
cute.
very cute.
I like it.
Very cute. So that is how we did for CozyAthon. I think that we did
yeah,
decent.
I think we did well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with.
I'm pretty pleased with our progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read more books this month than I have in a long time.
Yeah, I feel like we were both in kind of a reading slump at the end of last year.
A little, yeah.
Like, just real bad.
But this month already, I've finished 6 books.
I
finished
in this month.
wait,
in this month?
in this month.
Damn.
Because I finished, I got a little bit of a late start on CozyAthon because I was in the middle of a book and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking finish it.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
So I finished The Professor and the Madman,
Damn.
and then I finished an audiobook, which was The Dog Stars, and then I read all 4 of these.
Shit, son. I've read 10 books this year.
I've read 9, so you've actually
Damn,
read more books
son.
than me, but yeah.
We're kicking ass this year, though.
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
This beer's good. I like it.
And I really like the cover art, the bottle art. I think it's cute.
Some men in some Jim Jams.
Some Jim Jams.
Long Johns.
I like them.
Johns.
I think they're little outdoorsy outfits.
Yeah. Pretty cute.
Pretty cute.
They got little rosy cheeks, too.
They do. They're cold.
Probably can't see
They're
that.
a little chilly.
They're doing some ice fishing. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing.
I actually really like ice fishing.
I've never been ice fishing. I've been regular fishing.
We used to go in Michigan because, like, that was a big fucking deal up there. Because as long as the ice is a certain thickness, like, you can drive on it and stuff. So, like, we would have people drive their trucks out there, drive their 4-wheelers out there, and we would set up shanties. And you could even have, like, a can with a fire in it on the ice. But you would get an auger, and you would drill yourself a hole in the ice, and then you would just drop your line down and sit in there, and you get a little space heater in your... I'm showing my northernness, like, real bad right now, but...
I'm like, is this the Red Green show?
And you put, like...
We are the Red Green show.
Oh, no.
You stick on the ice.
Yeah, you could just sit up in your, in your shanty, and you didn't have to have a cooler for your beer because it's cold enough. You just stick it in there,
Right.
And I love ice fishing. So there will be some links down below where you can find us elsewhere on the internet.
And if you have not subscribed yet, do it.
Hey, don't be a wad. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.